Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, Saturday night begins the most important season ever for the Red Raiders. We're telling you why next on Locked On Texas Tech.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And thanks as always for making us your first listen with the only Chris Level. I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you. And we are almost within sniffing distance of a kickoff. It's Saturday night from Jones Stadium, Texas Tech and Arkansas Pine Bluff, and a couple more things as we prepare for that affair to dive into on today's episode. I want to get to something that you actually mentioned just kind of casually in passing earlier this week, but I think maybe could be a bigger deal for some than fans might anticipate. That involves some newcomers and maybe some new nerves in playing in front of 60,000, depending upon where you have come from. Also, an interesting set of weather circumstances that seem to be setting up for this weekend. So I want to talk to you about the stadium pulse factor for this Saturday in particular, coming up in just a moment. I also want to get to something that caught my attention recently, Chris. There are some projections going into the year about various groups or positions like, hey, here's college football's top 25 quarterbacks. Here's college football's top 25 defenses. Here's college football's top 25 wide receivers. Where Texas Tech is represented or not represented got my attention. So I want to get to this with you in just a moment. I'll explain. But I want to kick off our conversation, Chris, with something that we probably have been kind of putting off or maybe delaying, actually staring square in the face. And that's the stakes involved with this season. I want to kick off the conversation with a question, very simple, from one of our Matador mobsters. This was from Richard, who texted yesterday, and I went back and forth a couple of times with him on this, asking this question: is this the most important Texas Tech football season ever? How does that kind of thought sit with you, Chris?
Well, it's like, or what? You know, like, okay, if it is and it doesn't go well, like, or what? Or is it, you're trying to play for the right to get into the league title game, maybe the playoff. But if not, you just keep swinging. It's not like, hey, you're going to get relegated like those pro soccer teams over in Europe. Like, hey, man, no more Big 12 for you. No more big budget for you. Yeah, we're keeping you off TV. If you better do it now or else. I don't think the coach's job is on the line. I think there is massive pressure. I think those are different things. But I think this is as we've talked about, that you will continue to swing. You're already swinging in years to come from the recruiting standpoint. We've already seen this play out over the summer months with some top tackles and edge rusher types and potentially QBs.
Yeah.
QBs, yeah. And so but you know what? Yeah. Yeah, I think it is, and here's why. I don't think you've necessarily. Some are going to disagree with the point I'm about to make, but I get where you may be coming from if you say this. I don't think you've like gone out of your way to be out there. I think it's been very organic. I think you have a head coach that will do any radio show or any podcast out there. I think he's very transparent and accessible, and he's not braggadocious. He's just like a good dude, man. And I think he enjoys talking about his kids and his job. And if people want to talk to him about it, I think he's more than willing to do that. I think there's been many folks that have written about the nuts and bolts of how you kind of got to this point and why this question is being asked, how this roster was put together. And but I think that when you look at it in terms of, because here's the gamble you are making. Here's the gamble that you are ultimately making. There is going to be another shift in college athletics. 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, 5 years, something. It's happening. What does that look like? We don't ultimately know. You are gambling as a university in that you are putting this football program out there and in front of a lot of things, because I think that, and you're already seeing some dividends being paid, because this is the largest freshman class I think that they have welcomed. Your enrollment is, I think, close to 40. I think, what did I hear them say the other day? 42,000. They have the goal of reaching 50,000 of an undergrad over the next 10 years.
I remember the push for 30. It's crazy
I know.
to think about where they've come from.
And it's tied to what you're doing here, and so if you fall on your face or you come up way short, it hurts a lot of things, not just your football program or people's feelings or some fan. I mean, you're but again, I want to emphasize you're going to keep swinging, like you're going to keep like pushing. And I think it's even maybe fairer to say, is that a word? Fairer?
Sure.
More fair. This is the biggest 2 to 3 year window that you'll have as a city university football program. But your basketball program shares some of this stress as well, like some of the other things. But there's nothing that's out in front like football. So. And I bring up the fact that everybody has kind of talked about what you have done, and that some are just waiting for you to fall on your face. Some are ready to point and laugh, as we've talked about months ago. We could see this coming. But this is as James Blanchard would say, this is a proof of concept type season. And you may alter concepts and maybe you alter personnel. I don't know. I don't think that is necessarily the case, but you've put a lot out there. Cody Campbell has put a lot out there. Gary Peterson has put a lot out there. John Sellers has put a lot out there. Dusty Womble has put a lot out there. And this wasn't just about this past 6 or 7 months putting this roster together. This is like, hey, man, we need to build this facility, which took a bit, and got to debut it last year. Now you're fully in it. Your team is now fully in their portion of it, not just the stadium part. So, yeah, man, I don't disagree with that question. And I think if you want to widen the plate a bit, which I don't like doing, it's a massive 2 to 3 year window. But this is a very, very important, and it may in fact be the most important. I don't disagree with that perception at all.
I think we're somewhat simpatico for the same reasons. I kind of hesitated when seeing the question initially to say yes, because I'm thinking we don't even have necessarily an expectation that competitively this is one of the best teams you've ever put together. We don't know. We've certainly, I think, have evidence to say you've upgraded from where we've recently been, but it's not like going into 2008. I'm sure it's not like going into some of these other seasons where you felt like, yo, this team competitively justifies this kind of expectation. We're not there yet competitively, but I think you perfectly outlined everything else, all the other layers of context that have to be included that kind of make up this stage you're going to be on this season, for better or worse. And as you talk about there, it's more than just a season window, but this period. And it has to do, I think, with what so many people are engaged in right now across the college sports landscape, which is trying to put your best foot forward. And for those who are not at a Big Ten or SEC table at this time, it's even more incumbent upon you that you put your best foot forward. And I mean like the best foot you've ever put forward before. So I think there's that part of the effort that really also is resonating with probably Tech fans and just making you feel like the stakes are very, very high, because you have gotten some attention, obviously, via the offseason roster building efforts. Now you want the attention for the right reason, and that's because you're stacking wins and being relevant in the regular season and in the postseason. But I think I'm saying yes, this is, for those kinds of reasons, the most important, or certainly as important of a season as you've ever gotten ready for. But we'll see about the competitive angle. Does that make sense? I feel a little difference as far as just the purely team type of build up to this season compared to, say, 08.
There's just a lot more. Because I've seen some writers say this is the most talked about Texas Tech has ever been before a year, and that for a variety of reasons. There's expectations. There's the how we got to this point. There's the what they were doing along the way. I mean, all that stuff. And so but we ultimately just don't know.
Right.
There are other programs in this league that are going to be very good and very competitive. You just saw two of them play in Ireland over the weekend, this past Saturday. And again, what you've done guarantees you nothing. That's the beauty of this thing, is that, if people could just go acquire by the wins, then what fun would that be? But you've put yourself in a position, and there's been people that have been swinging away at this for years. And I feel like Texas Tech has been trying to figure out football and trying to push through for years and years. But there's other folks that have been knocking on the door with a better program and a better situation and more resources, and still haven't been able to kind of crack the code there a bit. But I hope this is just kind of a beginning, is what I hope. And I think that's what Cody Campbell would tell you. We hope this is the beginning of kind of a new era, like where we are challenging and pushing upward consistently, and we're in that mix consistently. And I just have to keep reminding myself, like you've said it, Cowan, I'll just quote you, like 9-3 around here, like a lot are going to be upset with that. And I get it. But this is different. This is a different team in a different era and all those things. But you've got to just keep trending upward. And if it's not quite good enough, like, you can't just say, okay, well, tear it all down, let's start over and let's see where we're going. No, you keep pushing, and you keep trying to do something about it, and you keep trying to find small victories, and you try to find like small advantages within the rules and all these things. Because why is there recruiting for this potential class they're about to sign in November? Why is it better than it maybe has been on paper? Because they've done some things with their finances that has allowed them to play ball financially with this recruiting class. And I think they're set up to be able to do that with the following year's recruiting class. At some point, the advantage of the front load kind of starts to go away, and then you're just like everybody else. But if you've pushed through and you've made it to the Big 12 title game and all the things, then it's working. And now there's proof of concept. And now it's maybe you don't need as much financial advantage to make noise, because that's what you're gambling on why people want to come to school here. You're selling the experience. That's what you're selling. You're selling drone shows and tailgates and tortilla tossing, and that's what you're selling. You can go online school anywhere you want. You can go to school anywhere you want. All that stuff. You're trying to create an experience here, and part of that is some Saturday afternoons in the fall. And there is hard data there that suggests that's why people go to certain schools, and that's what you're gambling on.
Yeah, no question about that. Speaking of the future and upward, downward trend lines elsewhere, I want to kick this to you and get back a little bit more focused on exactly what we could see play out this fall. First, today's episode brought to you by Upside. Red Raider fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind and get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Just download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play Store right now and start earning cash at the pump today. And you can use our limited time promo code FOOTBALL and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. You might think it's too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. So don't let this hour drive on by. Download the free Upside app now and use our limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time 20-cent per gallon bonus. That's our promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Today's episode brought to you by Supply House. And when the whistle blows on a new repair, you can get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Supply House's real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting any projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Needing parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery, and that's a game changer. And their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make any process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. And visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use our promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's SHCollege5 at supplyhouse.com for 5% off your first order. Real people, real service at supplyhouse.com. I was taking in just over the last maybe week or two a couple of top 25 projections as far as different positions or position groups are concerned this year, Chris. And this is across the country. They're just throwing some of these out there, for what it's worth to whoever is up to you, I guess. But I'm seeing top 25 defensive projections. Texas Tech acknowledged in that group. I think that sounds great, but I also do have that type of expectation for Baron Morton, which is maybe the opposite of a recent conversation or graphic display. A revolting graphic display from you. Never mind. I don't want to get triggered by that again. Baron Morton was included on one of these lists, top 25 quarterbacks across the country heading into 2025. All right. I can certainly see that. I got, though, to a pass catcher's top 25 projection. I did not see a Red Raider in that group, which is a little jarring for a Tech fan, given what we have become accustomed to over many years now from a pass catching standpoint. But it did get me to kind of thinking, where is this trend line actually with this group? Because I did feel like following some sort of, muted years where you really weren't cooking with anything all that special, even individually speaking, much less the group. I thought you had gotten back into being a little bit more, I guess, impact, if you will, among those wide receivers in some more recent years. Certainly last year, Josh Kelly was a go-to kind of guy. I thought he was one of the best in the Big 12 and one of the best going in the nation. And your group overall, I thought, was much better than just average. But that cast has changed a little bit, asking Caleb Douglas to take the next step and not be second in command to the man, but be the man. So things are changing. So I'm really kind of asking myself, what kind of trend line are we actually seeing for this group? Is it possibly a downward one to what we've recently been seeing? Or how do you feel about the thought of maybe not an individual Red Raider pass catcher represented among the nation's perceived top 25?
I think Caleb has been unfair. I mean, again, it's like kind of the Barron thing. He had nearly 900 yards receiving last year. And I think the second most of any returning Big 12 receiver in the conference. And yet he's still kind of been – NFL folks like him. NFL folks like Reggie Virgil. But they are about to embark on the toughest tests or the seasons of their career because there are expectations. I do think, people want to see consistency. And they want to see you make plays when it counts. And I think that the best thing that they've got going for them is each other, because the other could make the other's life easier.
Yeah,
that's just the way that this is going to work. It's not, that guy's our deep threat. No, you've got two of them, so you're going to force some coordinators and some safeties to pick your poison. Which way you want to shade your coverage, or do you want to play cover two the whole time? And that's my guess on what a lot of teams are going to do. They're going to say, let's just find out how good they can run the ball with these two young backs. Let's just let's not take our chances with some of this stuff. And it may be keeping everything. That's what UAPB is definitely going to do. They may play three safeties back there in that cloud stuff and say, keep it all in front. I'm not letting these big boys get behind this, but I don't see a downward trend at all. I think that it is fair to ask aloud what this position looks like a year from now when it's like Coy Aiken and a bunch of unproven guys, at least as we sit here right now.
Yeah.
There's not a position group on the team. Maybe defensive end is one, or edge is one, or just defensive line in general is one. but there's like you can go 7 or 8 deep on different people talking about excitement for younger players on this team. But it's just a whole cast of characters that are talented, were highly recruited in some cases, that just have not done it before. And your Roy Alexanders have, your Reggie Virgils have, your Caleb Douglases have. Again, going to be asked to do it at this level, on this stage, and consistently. But I think your two outside guys are draftable, or at the minimum preferred free agents like Josh Kelly was. They've got measurables to go with it. They've got speed to go with it. Now we just need the production and some results and the health to be maintained. But maybe you don't get a top 25 guy because you're pulling votes from each other, because I don't know how you really differentiate. Because Reggie Virgil, I mean, let's not forget, when you got him, there were the Florida States, there were the Oklahomas that were quite pissed and throwing around like, I cannot believe that they're giving this guy this much money. And they were just like, it was coming off as entitled. And like, you know, again, the Florida State tie, because he's originally from the state of Florida. But Oklahoma was as hot and bothered as anybody about any player that you got over in the portal, and almost like offended that he was coming to Texas Tech.
Of course.
And I've talked to Reggie multiple times. He is a great human. Like he is an easy kid to root for. This is a guy that would tell you he was a knucklehead when he was growing up, but he has figured it out. And I mean, this is a kid that gave back to his high school. Appreciates his high school coaches for pointing him on the right path, and that football would be a way out and could give him a lot if he gave it a lot. And anyway, and we'll talk about him later as we talk about just guys getting to play in this stadium for the first time. But
rip it off now, Chris, because I know he was one you mentioned to me as being really excited for this experience at the Jones and all that's going to come with playing in front of that size of crowd. I do want to ask you about this weekend specifically, though, because it seems like we've got some interesting weather set up for this one, a date with an FCS opponents on Saturday night. But first, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly feel the call of the stadium. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. And with the money you save on tickets, you can then splurge on foods, drinks, gear, and more. Gametime makes it all possible. And best of all, Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get the first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. And if you're like me, you get tired of endless scrolling trying to find the best deal, and that's why Gametime's Zone Deals is the go-to move, since it automatically picks the best seats in your section for you at the best price. And as always, you can get a view from your seat right there in the app, so before you buy, you know exactly what you're going to see. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use our code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked on College, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. Yeah, the newcomers among some of those, particularly from smaller programs or different levels, you got to imagine those nerves are something they're going to have to contend with. You mentioned earlier in the week, man, the adrenaline that probably is just overlooked by some of us in the stands, that's actually down there on the field when this ultra emotional event is playing out.
Yeah, and I think we kind of take for granted that a lot of these kids they're coming from, you know, the group of five levels in a lot of cases. Yeah, I mean, Lee Hunter played at UCF. They have decent crowds there. Northern Illinois may provide some of that. They've all played in games where they've played in front of more people than what they're going to see on Saturday, but never when that group is rooting for them. Never when, right? I mean, Skylar Grow Howard will tell you, and I think Reggie Virgil said the same thing. He's like, when I walked into Notre Dame Stadium, I felt like I was in the Roman Coliseum. He's like, it's like where those guys used to fight way back in the 1800s or something. I think that's what he was describing. And he's like, it was crazy. Like, I was just looking around like, man, is this for real? Like, is this many people about to watch us play a football game? He's like, but I've never had it like where they're rooting for. And he was admittedly, he said, I've told my coaches it's going to take me a sec on Saturday, like to snap out of it. And so just keep reminding me, be where your feet are and like all the things. But he's like, because so much of this hype, these kids have all seen this. They've seen all of the promotional video and the past videos. And I think that a lot of them have it in their mind that this is going to be a madhouse on Saturday and all these home games. I hope that it is. I want this fan bases in this school in this city to put their best foot forward for all these players because they're going to talk and they've got it, built up, and you just hope that it lives up to that in their mind. They've got to do their part too. But yeah, I think we've kind of glossed over that you're coming from Charlotte, you're coming from UTEP, you're coming from Northern Illinois, you're coming from Miami of Ohio, you're coming from, I don't know, you can just keep rattling them off. Yeah. And the majority of that portal class, yes, they're older. They've played in front of crowds this big, but never while that group is rooting for them. And I think that's friendly. A bit different. Yeah, it's a bit of a different vibe.
Friendly for the most part.
Yes. Yes.
We've seen some ebbs and flows
yeah,
at the Jones before with the hometown boys. Man, I'm looking forward to what should be a great year all year at Jones Stadium. But I am wondering about Saturday night. What do you think, weather-wise, there's some predicted gully washers for, 72 hours plus, it seems like, for West Texas this weekend. Is that something they're discussing at all? Inside or preparing for? Inside?
Yeah, I mean, you maybe practice with some wet footballs and things like that. Could it affect the drone show? I mean, as I look at it, as the time you and I are talking, it just basically the chances have decreased, and it just says scattered now. Whereas before it was like, and so we've still got plenty of time between now and kickoff and all that stuff. I just hope that there's some cooperation for about. I'm just asking for about 3.5 hours, man, of a window there. And then rain is one thing, but then lightning is another. That's when we get into delays and all that kind of stuff. But hopefully it'll clear up or, move a slightly different direction, at least for Saturday night, because I that would just almost feel like cruel. Or you know what it'd feel like? Typical Texas Tech. Why can't you schedule the game when the rain's not going to happen? I'm sure there's somebody sitting in a chair somewhere in front of a computer typing that out right now. Sure. This is what us is.
It should have been an 11 a.m. kickoff, yes. As we were all saying.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
I wouldn't mind if that scattered cloud just headed right on over to about FM 400 and 597. You can stay far away from Jones Stadium, but I got a little patch of grass there. I'd love to have a little moisture for
the water. I got you.
I don't want to wish it all away, just maybe away from the Jones for a period of time. But yeah, you want to talk about cruel and unusual punishment, man. Just having to wait for a game to start anyway. But what if we're in a lightning delay for UAPB? Well, that is a true test of character.
Wyoming, I lived that deal 2 years ago. Yeah, we and I think that set a bad. Yeah, the delays are tricky, man. Yeah, come out for warm-ups, then come back. I mean, it's just like, geez, man, come on. Can we just not do this thing? But yeah, Mother Nature, man. Mother Nature.
And then sometimes you wind up knocking off number one after a delay, so they can be friendly to some, I guess.
Oklahoma, enjoying some peanut butter and jelly in the locker room. I was a part of it.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect necessarily. I think the temperature clearly is anticipated as being pleasant, but whether or not we're going to have some moisture to contend with, we'll find out, I guess, together on Saturday night. But man, looking for a great environment, at least to start the game. I am not going to browbeat anybody who is bouncing whenever you choose to bounce. It is UAPB from the football championship subdivision, and that's not a fan problem. That lies elsewhere, but maybe a future holds less of those where we will be more compelled, even beyond 950 drones, to see the fourth quarter. So we can dream big dreams, right? Looking forward to finding out what it looks like either way, Chris. And don't forget about those tubas and over 1,000 Going Band alums going to be in the mix. That's a lot of brass.
And could be a lot of ponchos for some band members on the field if that's
liquor business is going to be good this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
If you're looking for a side hustle. All right, Chris, appreciate the time as always, my man. We got a couple more go rounds before we wrap it up for the week. We'll dive into the mailbag. We'll have some thoughts on the other side of your visit with Coach McGuire for the Coaches Show kickoff for the season as well. So looking forward to really being with you right up to kickoff Saturday night. So everybody stay tuned, and we'll see you for the next one. Going to need some sounds. Hope.
Hey, bang, 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 bang. Yeah.
Thank you. Come on.
Yeah,
I mean, there was
right.
a solution
Sorry,
for those that are listening by
I,
podcast only, but this is not the time to tell us to stop keeping hope alive.
That was the first turnover of the week. Yeah, hope it is alive, people. And now
and from previous experience, when you don't throw it out, people notice.
They notice
from you.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Thank you, Chris. And thank you, everybody, for being out there. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Thank you to the Everydayers for riding along always. And, of course, the Matador Mob as well, and our guy Richard for that question. And would love to hear from you on your answer to it. Most important football season ever for the Double T gang. Let us know in the YouTube comments or shoot us a text if you're a Matador Mobster. If you're not, hit the show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial if you're interested in joining that crew. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one texts sent straight to your phone. And can't wait to be back at the stadium with you Mobsters playing a game pregame. Where in the world is Superfan Eric? Hopefully sitting by someone from Arkansas. All right, until next time, thanks as always for the time, and we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.